To Lady Overlander Radio. Tonight we're speaking with Sarah McCuiston of Lifestyle Overland. Stay tuned.
Grab your favorite drink, whether it's a coffee, cocktail, or tea, and get ready. It's Ladies' Night on Lady Overlander Radio. The Lady Overlander Radio podcast is sponsored by Frontrunner Outfitters, Midland Radio, Go Treads, Sport Keg, CB Adventure Supply, Adventure Trail Outfitters, Overland Spices, and the More Expo.
Hey, Arla. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey. What's happening?
How are you? Oh, I'm good. Just got back from delivering a dining room table I just sold. So
yeah, I think I see an empty spot back there by the stove.
It's nice and open. It's ready for the new table whenever that
you guys
happens.
Going to do the couple squat on the ground kind of thing? Crisscross applesauce?
No, we have a little island we have some stools for. The kids won't have to eat on the floor, I promise. It'll be like they're camping anyway.
It's easier cleanup because you can Swiffer that right up.
Just put out a paper.
No stains on the furniture, like all good stuff, right?
Be great. That would be great. No stains on the furniture is awesome.
Hello, Mama Bear. Looky there. You ready to go?
Hi, old man on the truck. Welcome. Okay, so we have one announcement real quick before we dive into this episode with our wonderful guest. We have the listeners camping event coming up December
8th
through 10th. 8th
Yeah.
through 10th? Yeah.
Yep.
So that will be here in the Ozarks, and please,
somewhere
friends will tell you when and where and how soon.
So the plan on that is,
the
listeners podcast retreat is next week. We will drop part of the coordinates.
Ooh.
You have to be watching one of the podcasts to get that information. And then the following week, we will give you the rest of the coordinates. And that is the only way you're going to know where we are, because we will not be putting it on social media.
Oh, we sneaky.
How you like that?
I like it. It's a little bit evil. I like it a lot, actually.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, Amy.
Hey, Amy.
She is the Arkansas ambassador for Lady Owned Toyota.
Yes, she is.
Gen X Off-Road. I love you too. Look at these people. All right, everybody's watching. So we want to go ahead and introduce our guest. Sarah, go ahead and take a moment to tell us about yourself and how you guys got into Lifestyle Overland.
Sure. Hey, everybody. I'm excited to be here. Elsewhere Overland. He watches a lot of our premieres with us. So I guess just a little bit about myself is I am married to Kevin of Lifestyle Overland, and we have two girls. We have Caroline and Abigail. We travel full-time as a family for the last really more like 7-8 years, but didn't start making it a full-time job until 2018 when we decided to travel from the Gulf Coast all the way up to the Arctic Ocean and then into Alaska. And since then, we've done some really awesome trips just around here in the United States. We've gone to Costa Rica and, back to Alaska a couple more times. Once you go, you just can't get enough.
Mm-hmm.
So we've just been kind of accidentally turned into Lifestyle Overland. We had decided that we would take a trip when Caroline was about 3 years old. Kevin had mapped out this trip from southeastern New Mexico all the way up into Rocky National Park and decided to film it. And he was going to make videos because he had done that years ago when we had first met. And he just wanted to have it so that Caroline could watch it when she got older, and for our family who all lives back in Tennessee. We're the black sheep. We're the only ones who live this far away. And it just so happened that other people randomly started watching it on YouTube and started asking, hey, can I have the coordinates to hit up this trail? Like, that looks really fun. And so we created a Facebook group and named the trail the Enchanted Rockies Trail. And from there, we just kind of randomly started filming other camping trips, and Kevin would just slowly edit. It was nothing we were doing consistently. And then more and more people started watching and following along. And Kevin's like, I think the name that I want to have for this is Lifestyle Overland. I want it to be our lifestyle to go and do these things, and especially to always do it as much as possible as a family, because at the time when, he was introducing me to this overlanding world, it was quite the dude's world. And there were not a lot of women out there doing it, or at least not being seen doing it. And there were definitely not a lot of families. So he was like, I really want to be able to reach out to that community and really draw people into like, this is where families can connect and whatnot. And so that's kind of how the name Lifestyle Overland came to be. And from then on, we've just been traveling when we can and soaking it in and seeing cool stuff.
Heck yeah. Well, I do love the name because one way that we've always described overlanding, at least for our family, is it is a lifestyle choice. Especially if you're doing it full time. That's a conscious decision. It's not a vacation. It's not something, just to do on a weekend for us anyway. It's a lifestyle choice. And so I think that's a fantastic, name that you came up with for your branding and everything. And it really speaks to those of us who travel full time with family members,
Yeah, absolutely.
So you guys have been off and on kind of full time since 2018. Now, is it true that you guys started out in an RV? Were you guys full-time RVers before like us?
Right. So we had a home in New Mexico. And then at the time we thought Kevin was his contract was wrapping up. And so the market was really good. And so we sold the house and moved into a fifth wheel camper that we were borrowing. And I always said, I was like, Kevin, I will never live on a house with wheels. And little did I know how small over the years things would get. And so realized that we actually didn't need that much space, that much stuff. We just had Caroline at the time. And so we ended up buying our own fifth wheel and redoing the whole inside and everything. And we did that for about 3 years. And then that's when we decided to sell it all and travel in the turtleback trailer in 2018.
Yeah.
So I got really small.
Yeah. We kind of had a similar story. We had we had a Super C at the time in 2020 and it got totaled. And so we were actually watching Epic Family Road Trip at the time. And we were like, well, if they can do it with 3 kids, so can we. And I think one of the episodes we first started watching was when you guys were all doing the Enchanted Rockies together.
Oh, cool. Yeah. That's awesome.
So
I love that.
I was like, look at all these families out there doing this. We can totally do this. It's fine.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like 3 teenagers, Carol is, I want to be Carol when I grow up.
Yeah.
That woman is just fascinating.
Yeah, she's amazing. Really, really awesome to finally meet her in person. I got to meet her at Mountain West.
Good.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Good people for sure. All right. So we want to talk a little bit about, let me throw it up here. This beauty right here.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a vehicle too. Ride too.
Yeah, both of you. You're both gorgeous.
Oh,
okay. So tell us about your rig.
Okay. I have a GX 460. Her name is Aspen. And this kind of came from, we only had silver, our 4Runner at the time. And we quickly realized that we were going to need a second rig, mostly just because at the time Kevin had to go back to work. And so I needed a way to get around town after traveling full time. And we had actually looked at more like doing a 470. And upon looking and further research, I was told Kevin that I was like, the 460 has, heated and cooled seats. And it comes with leather and the wood paneling, like that's plush, man. And so we started looking at the 460s and found that it was a good comparison to the Prado. The Australians will correct me. But we were able to find a lot of our parts to mix into the 460, so to make it work, right? Because at the time there weren't a lot of aftermarket mods that you could put on a 460. And so we ended up finding her in Texas and went down and picked her up. And I had to drive her around as the mom-mobile for a while, and then we quickly started wanting to, I had a trip planned with my BA Overland lady group. And I was like, Kev, I cannot take this as the soccer mom car. Like, it needs to have some things done. And he's like, no, you're right. So we ended up doing the front bumper. I didn't have the rear. So just a front bumper, roof rack. Let me look at her here. And wheels and tires and suspension. And so we literally did that in 3 or 4 days. And we did it all ourselves. We tend to prefer to do that if we can, just because, that's just Kevin's world. If he's like, if I have the time and the effort and any excuse to buy new tools, we'll do the modifications ourselves. And so it was scary, cutting into plastic to fit a snorkel in and a bumper and all of that, but it felt really good getting to do that alongside him, because he did a lot of the modifications on Silver himself, because at the time I had a little kid, I wasn't really out in the garage, but this time around this was like my car, and so I got to like help pick how I wanted things to look and whatnot. So it was definitely fun getting my hands greasy, lifting up metal.
Cutting stuff and
cutting stuff. Yeah. Oh, that was scary. That was nerve-wracking. I don't really like that part, but I love wrenching.
Yeah, I had to cut out a little part of the rear part of my 4Runner for my rear bumper, and that was definitely nerve-wracking. I did not like that.
Like, you just want to carve away a little bit at a time, you're like, because if it's too much, then you're just like up a creek at that point. But
exactly.
It's a good time.
A Sawzall scares me. If a Sawzall fires up around my vehicle, I get real nervous.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I cannot watch it.
But then you just have to go. You just have to commit. You do all the measuring, you do all the stenciling, and then it just gets to the point where you're like, well, I got to just do it. And so you just
now it's in God's hands. Good luck.
Yeah, right. It's in the rig gods at this point. We're just gonna have to trust that.
Yeah, just trust
They'll
me.
allow this to go smoothly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, all right. So we want to just mention to everyone who's watching tonight, first of all, thank you for watching. Second of all, if you have any questions whatsoever that you'd like to ask Sarah, just go ahead and drop them in the comments and we'll pop them up on the screen, and we will have her answer them for you if she feels like it. Might be, if it's, depends on what the question.
We've been to many expos and have had many types of questions. So
we want to just preface that where it's going to be a question that you feel comfortable answering. So
sure. I
was going to ask, how many times do you guys have to filter out comments? Do you get a lot of a mixture of good and bad comments, or is it usually mostly positive?
I would definitely say 9 times out of 10, they're very positive comments. We do get those every once in a while, and we do filter. We don't always have to. Oftentimes, our faithfuls will come to our defense, which is awesome to see. But then there are certain times that there have been some comments that Kev's like, this is my house and I wouldn't let someone talk to me in my house like this. So there have been a few times, oftentimes I don't particularly care if somebody has something to say, but if they comment on my parenting or, my kids or something, that's a whole other ball game at that point in time.
That's when Mama Bear comes out.
Mama Bear comes out. That's right.
Yes. Yeah, I've gotten comments on like, oh, you shouldn't tattoo yourself. You know, what are you doing with that booger hook in your nose? You know, stuff like that. But
mind your business.
Boogers,
that how else do you get them out?
Like, right?
Geez, I'm busy. I need help. Okay.
That's right. You know, when you're a mom of two, you need all the help you can get. So,
God.
Yeah, we've had our fair share of comments regarding how we're parenting our children and all of those wonderful things as well. So I was just curious. I figured you guys had dealt with similar situations at times.
But thankfully it's not often. So
that's good.
We do have a question from the audience real quick here. Okay. Well, actually a couple have popped up. Beth Rose asking favorite camp meal. We know that you cook like crazy. Mm-hmm. And I see lovely things. So
yes. So really anything Mexican. I love to do, we do carne asada almost all the time. Tacos, burritos. Breakfast though is my favorite meal of the day. So probably my favorite is started carrying like a little oven. Mm-hmm. So I love when I get to do like cinnamon rolls or biscuits, you know, the things that you do at home and you're like, oh, you would never do that while you're out camping, and you actually get to do it while you're out camping. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of, it just feels good. So I do love breakfast.
You eat better when you're out camping, I think, than you do when you're at home.
More often, yes.
Yeah, really.
Well, because I'm like going and I'm like, okay, if we're going to have an epic destination, I want to have this amazing meal to go with my view of the lake, you know? Mm-hmm. So like we went out a few weeks ago and we found this amazing little spot, like a high alpine lake. And I had brought cinnamon rolls. So I made cinnamon rolls and bacon, and we had our coffee, and it was just, it was cold. It was just amazing. I love mornings.
Oh, we're getting all kinds of questions now. We're piling up. Teddy and Joanne are asking, what is your favorite place you've been overlanding? Theirs is Wyoming.
Theirs is Wyoming. I have not done a lot in Wyoming yet. That is on our to-do list, hopefully for some next year. But my favorite place to go overlanding, honestly, so far has been in Utah. The landscape is just so quickly diverse. You know, you can be out in the desert or you can be up in the aspen trees. And I love that, you know, right now while it's cold, we can go down into the desert or go find some hot springs and still cold weather camp. And then when it's too hot, we can go up into, you know, 10,000 elevation and be in the 70s and 80s and just enjoy ourselves all year round. So, so far, truthfully, I know that sounds kind of cliche considering I live in Utah, but Utah is my favorite so far.
Awesome.
You have it right in your own backyard. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Elsewhere overland, any plans to enter the Rebel Rally?
You know, I have fantasized about it for multiple years.
Yes.
And either like I was going to do it in 2020. That was going to be the year. And then, you know, a lot of things just changed in 2020. And then since then, we've just done a lot of other traveling around that time frame. And then I had a baby, you know, so I do have a girlfriend that if I was to do the Rebel Rally, I would do it with her. So I don't know, maybe the next couple years. I don't know. I'm intimidated by it. I think it would be awesome, but I am intimidated by it.
It's a lot, mentally, physically.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like I go camping and whatnot, but the aspect of it is like talking with Rochelle. It is just like nonstop going.
Yep. And
I would have to really mentally prepare for that, you know. So maybe in the next couple of years, we'll see.
I think hard days.
Yeah. Days. And my personality is like, I'm not going to like get in last place. So like, I would go really hard and would want to do really well. So I would have to get around for that, for sure.
And I would picture you as the driver because you drive a lot already.
Yes.
In all the videos.
Yes.
So I would picture that. Yeah, for sure.
I would definitely be the driver. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of vehicles, David's wanting to know what you think of the new Tundra.
Oh, I would love one. I think they are amazing. I have, especially now that we have a car seat in the car again, we have definitely been looking at and fantasizing about all of that space in the back seat for Caroline and Abigail, and for Kevin to have more room up front, you know, because right now he's in the Lexus, his knees are right up on the dashboard when he does drive. So I love them. I think they look sick. I would have to get rid of a lot of the chrome finishes. I'm not a huge
not a chrome person.
No. Yeah. So I'd have to delete a lot of that, but otherwise I think they look fantastic.
And if anybody watched your last video, you could do the same kind of setup as the family you guys were traveling with, the 3 kids.
Exactly. Yeah.
Watch the video.
That'd
I'm not going to say anything about it.
That's right.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Joanne and Teddy say, got to check out Flaming Gorge. Misty and Joe took us there.
Yes, we
did. Gorge is gorgeous. We
Misty
definitely want to do some
Wyoming.
more.
They love it.
More traveling over there.
Yeah, we've loved Wyoming so much. We went like 3 times now. Like that's
awesome.
And probably one of my most favorite places so far.
Nice. We've dipped up in there when we've gone north for a few things, but we haven't like gotten to go and explore. So that's definitely one of our want to go and experience for sure.
Oh, you guys will not be sorry. That's for sure. All right, Arla, we're going to go ahead and do one of our short little segments here.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's go ahead and do Lady Overlander of the Week. Da-da-da-da. Drum roll. All right, our Lady Overlander of the Week is Angela of 20 Project. And Arla, tell us why Angela is so amazing.
Well, first of all, she was nominated by Andrea Amos. Basically, her and her husband, Angela and her husband, they have adventure bikes, and that's how they get around, and that's how they overland. But what they're doing is down in Mexico, and they're traveling south. They're giving back to orphanages and doing things for the orphanages down in the south. I thought that was pretty amazing, and I thought it was pretty cool that Andrea nominated her. So that's why we went with that one.
Absolutely.
Giving back.
Andrea Amos of Pura Vida Journeys nominated them and nominated Angela. So she is our Lady Overlander of the Week.
Super
and
cool.
Let's go ahead and do our weekly win. You had a weekly win that you wanted to mention.
I do, and I'm going to butcher it. It's going to happen. We were talking about before the show. I said I would butcher it. It is. Okay, so weekly wins is Amanda Goutreau. Me? Sorry, Amanda, if you're watching, babe. Much love. She finally got her Jeep running and made it to some trails over the weekend. It was much needed therapy for sure. Her Jeep has been down for a hot minute, at least 6 months. Y'all see my dog walking around back there? Lay down, girl. Hey. Anyway, so she got her Jeep back finally and got to take it out. She loves her Jeep, so she's been heartbroken that it's been down, and she finally got to go out in it. Do some trails. So she's super excited about that. That's awesome. A win. But I want to make a side note, also mention that Lisa said that she didn't choke anybody out this week. I thought that was super funny because that's usually what I say.
Yeah.
Didn't lay hands on anybody. Okay.
No assault and battery charges against Lisa this week.
Yeah. Yep, Sadie. That's Sadie walking around. You're right.
Why is your husband yelling at Sadie over the podcast?
Because she's got her. See her right there? See her right there? She's supposed to be laying. Both the girls are in here being ridiculous right now.
Oh, goodness. Anyway. All right. So let's talk about homeschooling.
Okay.
You homeschool Caroline.
Mm-hmm.
And how does that work when you guys are camping and traveling? Do you do a lot of book work? Do you do kind of a little bit of unschooling? How do you guys roll with that?
Yeah, so Kevin and I both grew up homeschooling, so it wasn't quite a foreign concept. But I will say with 2020 happening that the options for homeschooling have exploded. So there are so many different ways that you can homeschool. For us, though, at the time that we started homeschooling, I choose more bookwork. I'm more of a hands-on. I'm a paper person. I'm tactile, and being the teacher more often than not. So we do more bookwork. The cool thing about Utah is you can, and I know this is a bunch of other states as well too, but you can send an affidavit saying that you're in charge of your child's education. And so at that point, I don't have to answer to anyone. So I don't have to turn in grades. I don't have to turn in a curriculum for approval, which gives us the freedom to really educate Caroline however we want to. And so one thing that I have learned over the years of homeschooling Caroline is that she really thrives in gaining knowledge through reading. She is very creative and loves stories and loves to write herself. Like homegirl, we keep telling her all the time that if she would take a story and start it and finish it, that we would find someone to illustrate it for her and have like all kinds of kids' books. She's fantastic. And so one thing that I do is I, try and find like kind of more boring subjects like history and science, or tend to be boring, history and science, and find literature to educate with rather than just a textbook, And so oftentimes I'll try and find, if we're going to a certain area, I'll try and find library books or, an Audible book. Oh, we love Audible books to listen to while we're in that area, so that, we can do some educating that way as well. But I'll usually just take her backpack and fill it up with the things that I want to try and get done while we're out on the road. But I also try and leave a lot of time for just creativity and just being outside. And for the most part, we kind of school year round. So if we know that we're going on an extended trip, I will bring some things with us, but at the same time, we have the freedom to just, put a pause on some things and, pick it back up when we get back home or get back to a situation that makes it more conducive for a specific type of learning. I don't do a lot of online learning just because at the time, we have Starlink now, which, that can open up a whole new, avenue of homeschooling. But, at the time we didn't have it. So I was like, oh, it's all books for us, but with Starlink, I mean, heck, we could do anything at this point. But yeah, we're book people, we're literature-based people, and definitely hands-on learning.
Well, I can tell you, as long as your kids are not streaming and gaming on Starlink, it works really well.
Yes, that's true.
Working okay tonight. So that's what we have here at the cabin, because when we're not here, we just take it with us wherever we go. Yeah. And we just paid the extra. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's a blessing and a curse,
Yes.
Like when we went on this last trip, I had a lot of work that I needed to start getting going for Overland Provision. And so I was like, you need to pick a camp spot that we can stay at so that I can sit on the computer for a few hours and knock this out. So it was really nice having it for, instances like that. But then there's other times where it's like, let's just turn it off. We need to look at the stars and sit around the campfire. And I don't want to have signal so that someone can text me, so it is definitely a blessing and a curse at the same time.
Yeah, we were kind of forced to turn it off because we don't have like a red arc system or anything like that in our rigs. We just have our little power stations. So the thing draws a lot of power. So we use it quickly, and then we're like, okay, turn it off.
Yep. Yeah.
So yeah, we don't, we try to limit our use with that only for like specific things, work and stuff like that. But here at the house where we have power, we just
let it run.
Yeah, I opted not to have home internet anymore, and we just use it here.
Nice. So, yeah. I mean, what's the point in paying for two different services? So
exactly. True. And we went ahead and paid for the international plan too. So when we start traveling internationally, it'll be lugging
Ooh,
the
that's
Starlink with
exciting.
us. I'll get the fancy backpack, I guess.
Right? Like, how can we wear this?
Yeah. Well,
Well,
they'll sell you
Kevin
a fancy
did
backpack for it.
that slick mount on top of Aspen.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it can just, yeah. So, I mean, you have to, if we're camping in a wooded spot and we need it, then we'll have to take it off and put it in the clearing. But I mean, that thing can run the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen a lot of people do the where they cut it and remount it and do all that kind of
Yep.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't done that yet. The only place that I've had an issue where I couldn't get signal at all was actually in Wyoming. And we were like surrounded by these giant trees. I think we were in the Bridger National Forest, and that wasn't it wasn't happening.
Yeah,
That
it'll search and search and search and search if the trees are too tall and or just too close.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, we talked a little bit about camp meals, and I know you're the camp chef. So what were you making here? What's in this bowl?
That's our brisket mac and cheese.
That looks amazing.
With green onions. It is delicious.
That sounds
So
like
yum.
something I need to eat immediately.
You should. I've actually had a couple people at expos be like, our favorite meal is the brisket mac. And the thing that's nice about it, and about a lot of the meals, especially now that I have Abigail, I have to kind of like pre-do a lot of things. And so if you want something yummy, like, you can smoke a brisket, and then I'll sometimes like slice it into smaller sections and then stick it in the freezer. And so I can just pull that out, and then we can have, brisket sandwiches or the brisket mac. And the mac was just a box mac. So, I mean, if you want to make it from scratch, every once in a while I like to do that too. But a box mac and something pulled from the freezer and a delicious meal, I love it.
Sure.
Plus, like box mac and cheese, how many of us grew up on that? That's got a specific taste.
I'm still growing up on it. What are you talking about?
Sometimes I eat SpaghettiOs. I'm not going to lie. Like sometimes you need those kind of things.
Chef Boyardee, the little raviolis.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, we got a question, Arla.
We do have a question. I was waiting. From Gen Xers Off-Road. How long did it take for you to get used to sleeping in unknown locations and not waking up for every random noise? That's a good one.
Gosh, when we first started camping, that was the worst thing. That was the hardest part. Absolutely. And especially when we were in the ground tent. But once we moved up to the rooftop tent, there's just that sense of security that it gives that quickly, that just quickly went away. And it's gotten to where sometimes when we're at home, Kevin has actually soundscaped some of the like creeks and stuff that we've slept next to, and has it saved on his phone. And so sometimes we'll just turn that on when we're at the house just to have it to go to sleep to. So it definitely, the very first year for sure, going out and camping, a lot of noises can sound spooky at night. But now, like, I love the sound. I love the crickets. I love, hearing the creeks and stuff if we get to camp next to rivers and whatever. So I love it.
Does your body naturally get into that up with the sun, down with the sun rhythm when you're out camping? Or do you guys still
honestly more camping than when we're at home? At home, it's so easy to like stay up way past you're supposed to. But yeah, when we're camping, I'll put the baby down at 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I'm like, okay, doesn't anybody else want to go to bed? Are you all done? Because like, you want to by the campfire? I'm like, I mean, it's cold. It's cozy in here. But yeah, definitely get much more and quicker into a circadian rhythm. But honestly, sometimes, especially now with a baby, it is, depending on how often I have to wake up with her, it is so easy for me to sleep in. Where we can sleep until 9 or 10 sometimes, easy peasy.
Sometimes you have to.
And when we were traveling full time, like once you got to a certain point, like up in Canada, like the sun never really went down, and so we were finding by accident, like staying up till 2 or 3 in the morning and then sleeping in till like 11 or 12. I mean, I had a 5-year-old. Like I was starting to feel kind of guilty. I was like, should we not be going to bed like at 10? And Kev's like, if we're sleeping till noon, we're not going to be ready to go to bed. So it was the hardest transition was going from traveling full time and staying up like that to when we went back to Tennessee to visit family after traveling and being like, are you all going to bed? It is so early.
Right. No,
and
it's
then
not.
like them and their kids going to bed and us and Caroline staying up till like 2 in the morning being like, okay, now we'll go to bed. But
Oh yeah. So what does Caroline think her little sis?
She loves her. She is such a good big sister. And I knew that she would be, but it has been so much fun to watch her just like learn a new person, because she knew me and Kevin, but learning a new person, especially one that is with you day in and day out, is a whole new experience. And Abigail just thinks she hung the moon. Like, if you walk by Caroline's room and you don't go in Caroline's room, you would have thought that I had pinched her. So when Sissy walks in the room, it is all about Sissy and what is Sissy going to do to make her laugh. So it's been such a joy and an answer to prayer to get to watch Caroline be a sister.
That's sweet.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how does so I know you guys started traveling pretty young with Caroline, but how is it with this whole new dynamic with a baby and another child and you guys all traveling together, logistics and all of that?
Yeah. So that was one that really surprised us when we did go on our first camping trip with Abigail. She was, I think, like almost 4 months old. And, we rolled into camp late per Lifestyle Overland tradition, and we were like, oh, we'll get out, we'll film setup, we'll film cooking dinner. And so like we all get out and then we're like, what are we supposed to do with this baby? Like, where's she even going to go? She had just been in her car seat this whole time. Like, we didn't even have like a spot for her. Like, we didn't have a stroller. We didn't have a camp chair. We had nothing for her. And so we quickly realized that we weren't really going to be able to function as we had before, and that we were going to have to function with a lot of grace and on baby time, and honestly, I have been really surprised at how much I've enjoyed baby time pace because it's caused us to slow down, because at the time, we started traveling with Caroline and camping with her at 15 months old. So by the time she was, 8, 9, 10, she could sit in the car for 12 hours at a time and not complain, so long as there were snacks. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
that's how Arla is.
it was really easy to just always go, and go see this, go do that, run this trail, go here, let's check this out. And so with having a baby, we had to really start slowing down. And so instead of passing something, it was like, hey, I need to feed the baby. Why don't we pull over here and see this view while I nurse the baby? And then how about we stop and do this? And then we can do that. And we can stretch our legs and get a break from the car seat. And so I, and including Kevin and Caroline, have really liked having some reason to really slow us down so that we can stop and see some really cool things that, we potentially could have passed up because we were, on to the next thing. Like, oh, we're going to go see this, we'll come back to that at another time is what we often say. And so now we actually stop for those. So nice. It was definitely a big learning curve. But once we really settled into like, oh, we're just on baby time, it's really allowed us to like slow down and get to camp on time, which is, really new for us. So we're usually rolling in at 7, 8 o'clock, but now it's like, no, it is 5 o'clock. We have to start finding camp and we're going to pick the next one around the bend. So it's been good. It's been an adjustment, but it's been good.
That's awesome. Yeah, she's a cutie. I'm going to show her a little picture over here.
Yes.
Get this baby.
She's a nugget.
She's so chunky.
Smiling.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she's a chunk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She did really well at the PNW show too. I mean, I didn't hear her hardly fuss at all. Like, and it was hot.
No.
She
Yeah.
did really, really well.
That was miserable. And she is a December baby. So she clearly is prepared. I mean, you look at her, she's 22 pounds now. She is clearly, thickening up for the cold winter months. So to be remotely hot.
Aren't we all? I mean,
for sure. Absolutely. But, to be hot at Pacific Northwest, you thought it just looked like she was about to melt, poor thing. But yeah, she's such a good travel little baby. A lot of kids don't like the car seat, and it is shocking how well she does in the car seat. Here at the house, I could put her in the living room, in the floor, with toys all around her and walk away, and she'll start squawking. But we put her in the car seat, and we can go an hour and a half, 2 hours in the car, and she is happy as a clam. You just have to give her a new toy every once in a while, and she'll just keep on playing. So we got very lucky with her enjoying the car in the car seat. So
no doubt.
Part of that is probably that she has her people around her too. Like she can visually see each of you in the vehicle, so it's like she feels comfortable.
Close proximity for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, little kids like that for some reason.
I know, right? I'm a little bit of a touch me not. And so oftentimes I'm like, oh no, my love language is, quality time. But then I also really love being alone. And so to always have a shadow, I joke and call her, oh, my best friend's awake. I need to go check on my best friend.
Fast Track says thickening up for the winter. I'm going to have to use that.
It's a thing, right?
I mean, it's a legit thing. And here in Utah, I mean, it's already gotten cold outside. So we're getting thick. We're ready for winter camping, so ready for our first snow. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, we were in just outside of Salt Lake City a couple of years ago, and that was when they I guess it's not really that freak, but this big winter storm came in September, and a bunch of people lost power, and it was crazy, and it was just insane. And we were actually out camping, and it was amazing to me how many people left that were camping, that they just left. And I'm like,
oh yeah,
well, you're already here. What do you need to leave for? Like who? It's just snow. But
right,
it was just the whole area just shut down, and everything, like everybody lost their minds. I'll never forget that.
Just, fair weather camping, but no, I mean, it's cold, but we did a lot of winter camping. I guess it was in 21. And as long as you have the right gear, honestly, the best time to go out is in the winter because no one else is there. So as long as the trails don't get like too muddy and slick, like going out in the snow and the really cold it's fun. I'm shocked that I would say that because I used to be like, it can only be between 70 and 85 degrees for me to go camping. And now, as long as I have good warm socks and a good coat and a beanie, like we can go in the snow. That's fine.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
So who would you recommend? Give us some ladies' names of other lady overlanders you recommend people follow.
Oh, absolutely. So I have to shout out all the girls that I travel with for my VA Overland ladies. So we have Taylor May for Meandering May. She's doing some really cool things for 2024. And then Laura with Soul Script. She just changed her name, so I'm trying to remember. And then my friend Clarissa, she travels with her two little girls. They're Get Lost Overland. And then, who else? There's this one girl that I really enjoy following, Brighton Peach. I'll have to text it to you. But she does like van camping. I think they were living full time in their van. And her husband at the time was a med student. And so they were living out of their van, and she would take her three little boys like hiking and camping and all kinds of things. And so she's really fun to watch as well too. Especially doing it with so many little kids. I think hers are like 3 to 6 or 7, and that's 3 of them. So I'm always like, kudos to those ladies who get out there with little kids,
Yeah.
I saw a meme where it was something like, my tolerance for like whining and complaining is much better outdoors. When you're inside and you're all cooped up, it's one thing, but if you're outside hiking, and they start complaining, you're like, nah, it's all right. You can complain. So long as I'm doing what I want to do, it's okay if you complain. You don't have to love it just yet.
They rarely do, but I think that it's good for them to go. So
absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
You got it out.
Get some break from electronics, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everybody needs a break from it. I know I do too.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
It's hard.
It is. So what do you guys have coming up for 2024? Are there any cool trips or any projects or anything you're allowed to talk about?
Yeah. So we basically this year we have just been waiting for Abigail to grow up and get up to speed. We've been taking her on trips and she's been a great traveler. But we had to put a lot of our international trips on hold because of that. And so next year, our goal is to do a lot of smaller international trips. So a couple years ago, we had gone to Costa Rica, and we've gone to Alaska multiple times by doing rentals. Rather than trying to ship our rig. As much as I would love to take my own things, that's really expensive.
It is.
So
yes.
we are looking at, yeah, exactly. So we are looking at doing some international trips through, a rental situation kind of thing. And then we also want to do a lot of traveling, here around in the United States. So we've done a lot of Utah, but we haven't done a lot of borders. So we would love to go up into Wyoming. We'd love to do a lot of Nevada as well. I'd love to do during the winter months some hot spring hopping, go find some of those, and just continue to allow Abigail to grow up and adjust and, just really take off next year and the years to come. But I'm so anxious for some international trips. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Same, girl, same.
Yeah.
Ready.
And I've not done a lot. So that will be whole new territory for both Kevin and I. So we'll definitely be going to English speaking ones, to start. Neither one of us can speak any other foreign languages. So we are looking at Scotland is like definitely number one on the list. And then maybe, trying to do like Norway, Sweden, stuff like that, maybe down into Australia or something like that. So just ready to go see. I've enjoyed seeing the United States, and I've seen a lot more than what other people have, but I am so anxious to see what the rest of the world has, So, and being part of an overland community really makes the world feel much smaller. And so it allows for friendships everywhere. Yep. And so it's been really cool creating, friendships through Instagram or through our patrons that are in other countries, sharing their stories and where they like to go. So hopefully we'll get to, meet up with some of our international friends and see what they have to offer as well.
Oh, Chris was going to say the same thing. Fast Track, Arkansas has some beautiful national forests. Hint, hint. The Ozarks.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, that's true. Arkansas.
That's where we are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're from Tennessee. I'm sure they've been to Arkansas.
Yes. We have camped multiple times. Arkansas is a nice middle of the ground portion for us to stop and camp on our way to Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Next October, you can camp right through and go to Rendezvous in the Ozarks.
That's true. I know that's one that we always keep missing because at the time we always do Expo East. So, we kind of have to pick and choose our show circuit. I
think it was Kevin 2 years ago was going to try to come through there, and then something came up, like a breakdown or something, and then he ended up missing it.
Yeah.
Through because I think he was going to be there for Turtleback or something with Barry. I think that's when that was. Yeah.
Well, he did do one. Was it the Moore Expo?
He might have done Moore Expo.
I think he did that one a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's on our backyard. literally.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's nice.
Literally.
Yeah.
Tell
All right,
us
we've got one more.
I got to interject. I can't see anymore. Tell us about that thing directly behind you.
Oh, yeah.
This thing.
New.
Oh, this thing.
That is new.
That is new. Yes.
That is
So
beautiful.
this is our Voyager, our expedition trailer.
Yes.
And oh, you guys, I needed this so bad, especially with a fresh new baby. Like, I would not dream about going camping with any type of month-old child unless I had this, to be honest. We've done so many iterations of camping and overlanding. We had our turtleback, and then we dual rigged it, and then we got our smaller turtleback, and then we got our orange turtleback, and then we decided to just single rig it and do the whole tote system and whatnot. But when you, like I had said previously, when you have a baby, lots of things change, and sometimes you just need some ease and convenience again, and hot water again. So this is a sleep inside. I never would have thought that I would have convinced Kevin to go to a sleep inside, but we are loving it. And Abigail sleeps really good in there. She does not sleep good in rooftop tents. How she knows the difference, I will never know. But sleeping in there is so much easier for her than a rooftop tent. So I am thankful to have it. So it's a sleep inside. I've got a kitchen. I've got hot water. I've got 2 fridges. So, I am packing all the food and all of the drinks to go with us on our trips. And it has just been an absolute game changer. And they have been such a dream. Expedition has been such a dream to work with, because one of our biggest hiccups with a sleep inside option was that not all of us were going to fit in there. And so, everybody will put like rooftop tents on top, but we don't want Caroline sleeping all by herself. The baby's not going up there just yet. And so that meant, Kevin and I would have to sleep separate, which is fine for a little while. But then, you want your honey back. You need your snuggle partner. So it was like, what can we do? I like to snuggle. Okay. Not everybody does. I do. So, we kept brainstorming, like, what could we do to have a sleep inside, but still have, connection with Caroline up in the tent. And so when we were talking with Artie and Stacy of Expedition Trailers, we were like, what could we do? And, one thing that they had offered is like, how about we cut a hole in the ceiling here? We'll make a pass through or portal. And that way, it's a double door. So we can leave one side open so that, heat is going in there. Yes, I said heat. It's heated. So heat can go up into the tent for Caroline, and then we can still talk with her and, have, if something goes wrong, then we can quickly get to her, whatever she gets sick or whatnot, heaven forbid. But that has been such a game changer getting to have, it's literally a home on wheels. We have been so tempted to be like, I guess we could just, close up the house and just go full time again for a little while, right? We don't need, everything we need is right there. Mm-hmm. And I have no problem using laundromats for laundry. So, but it has been, I love it. I leave it packed and ready to go. So all I have to do is get groceries and then we go. It's amazing.
Well, I like Artie and Stacy because they have like a lot of kids.
Like, how many they've got 5 kids. 5?
Yeah. So, and they've camped in things like, and something very similar, if not one of those exact, little campers.
This is their exact trailer.
Yeah.
And so they have the rooftop tent, and then they have the awning that comes out that you can put the walls on to make like a whole other room. And then they put cots in there for the rest of the kids to all sleep in there. So, they had to figure it out, nothing was really working for them. And he was like, you know what, I'll just build my own. And when they were telling us that story, I was like, oh, we're going to be fast friends, because Kevin's always like, how can we make this better? How is this going to work for us? So I knew that those two with their ideas would definitely get along, and they have.
Oh yeah.
Well, I hope you guys are going to do a walkthrough pretty soon and post that out.
We will. That's the upcoming episode that Kevin's working on right now. So it'll either be out tomorrow night or it might be Friday. So Kevin's, really trying to put this together and really finesse it just right. So we'll see. It'll either be tomorrow or Friday.
We're going to need you to step on it, Kevin. We want to see it.
I know, right?
Keep going.
Late night.
I can see it. I want to see it.
All-nighter.
Right.
Yeah.
Heaven.
That's right.
So cool.
So you guys are at almost 300,000 subscribers. That's pretty freaking amazing.
Bravo.
That's mind-blowing.
It's been a wild ride, and we did all of the expos this year, and it's been it's always, expos are hard. They're hard to get to, they're hard to be at for 3 days in a row, but man, the people you get to meet and the stories that you get to hear and all the cool things that you get to see really makes up for the hard part of it, and so really getting to especially meet our patrons, we wouldn't be doing this without them, because we function off of the patron platform, and so it's just been so neat to get to meet them and put faces to the names that I constantly see scroll by at the end of our episodes. So it's amazing to see those numbers continue to grow. I'm like, who are all these people?
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. That's fantastic. And I, for one, am glad that you guys did the expos, because then Madeline, when she was with me, she had Caroline to play with, and they went off and were gone for hours. And
they were inseparable. They were like, can we slumber party? And we're like, y'all need a break. Let's all get our own sleep, and then you can have the rest of the day tomorrow.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. They were all about the slumber party and everything. I'm like, listen.
Yeah.
We're tired. First of all,
yeah, y'all need to eat and y'all need to sleep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Ain't no party.
So what happened to your rig at Pacific Northwest? Something happened there.
So, oftentimes, nature comes into play with, our adventures. And, sometimes critters find wire harnesses tasty. So, and, other critters like to chase other critters and, do their best to try and get at them. And so we actually ended up having some of our wire harness destroyed by a dog or a rat or ground squirrel. We're not really sure. But it did, luckily it wasn't too bad. And Kevin's an electrician by trade. So thank God he is super, capable of fixing that himself. But yeah, it severed some of the wiring for the lights and then the long range tank and I think the KDSS, but he was able to get those things wired back up and spliced back together and whatnot. We made it home just fine, but yeah, that's, those critters, they like to find a snack where they can. And apparently Aspen was pretty tasty that night.
Yeah, I was looking under Calypso right after you said, oh, something ate my wires. I'm like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
Thankfully, nothing did on mine.
And it didn't help that at the time, we weren't staying on site, we were leaving. And so there wasn't enough commotion and action going on around our vehicle. So, I guess we couldn't have been too surprised, but it felt like a venue at which there would not have been rats and mice and stuff. We were pretty much in an open field, but, they find their way any way that they can. So, and they did. They sure did.
Oh, yeah. They were hungry for sure.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Super quick. We need to throw up our content creator of the week. And then we will.
Gracious.
Ready?
Almost forgot about that.
Content creator of the week. Grit and Grace. Team 120 for the Rebel Rally. Kara McClellan and Danielle Noonan. Mm-hmm. Very excited about them. They'll be rookies this year.
Yep.
Go ahead and give them a follow. They went. How many followers did they get in 1 week, Arla?
They've only had I think it's been 4 days that's been up, and they're over 8,700 followers already on Instagram. Kara McClellan, as you know, is Ozark Overland Adventures. Mm-hmm. Danielle Noonan is also Second Overland. And those girls are going after it. Let me tell you right now.
No, they've been preparing
over a year now already. They started going to the training with Rebel last year, the classes and stuff they have, and they're serious, and they're both very, very competitive. So
It's awesome.
That's our girls right there. Yeah.
See if their friendship can survive this.
Yeah. Kara's the driver. Danielle is the navigator.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
And if you watch the channel, you know that Kara knows how to drive in lots of different terrain.
Mm-hmm. She does, for sure.
And that pink
She's got
Jeep.
that covered.
Tuscadero.
Yeah. So cute.
Mm-hmm.
I know, right?
All right. So if anybody has not found your channel and would like to find your channel, where can they find you guys on social media?
Find us on YouTube at Lifestyle Overland. And then you can follow us as a family on Lifestyle Overland, or I'm Mrs. Lifestyle Overland on Instagram. So we've tried the TikTok thing. That's not really our thing.
I like to watch it because it's great entertainment.
Sure. You know, but reels and stuff, that's enough for us.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
You can find us on YouTube and Instagram more likely. Yeah, and then our Patreon platform where you can, be a patron, and we do behind the scene things there. Kevin does an awesome video series called Coffee with Kevin, where he just kind of talks off the cuff about things that he's been mulling around, or some ideas that he has. And we also share waypoints, GPS tracking, things like that. So it's a fun space to be over there on Patreon.
Very nice. Well, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. We had a really good time with you. I know our schedules were all crazy over the last several months to years, and it's nice to finally get it back all aligned and stuff. So
absolutely. And thanks for being flexible when I had to already reschedule on you. So I really appreciate it.
Then Arla had to reschedule. So
that has a lot to do.
Yeah.
There's our girls right there.
See?
So good watching.
We're watching you, girls.
We're watching you. We're watching.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching tonight. You can catch this. It'll be posted next week on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and all other major podcast platforms. That's hard to say. So thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you next week. No, we won't. Arla live.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Have a great night, everyone.